Now, if you're mouth breathing at night time, you're increasing the resistance to the back of your airways, because when your mouth comes open, when you breathe, the airway can drop. And what happens is the airway collapses. So if the airway collapses, the amount of air that can get through reduces. And the vibration through the soft palate is what snoring is. So if your partner is next to you and she's getting annoyed with you all the time, or he's getting annoyed with you all the time because you're snoring, if the mouth's open, then it's most likely because you're a mouth breather and you need to become a nasal breather. And we're going to get to that in a moment. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Martin McPhillamy, Performance Through Health, performance coach and expert in sleep, breathing and stress. In this video, we're going to delve into the impacts that anxiety has on sleep and how breathing through the nose can help you with that. Now, if you've not watched my last video, which was on anxiety in general, the impact that high chronic stress has on your breathing and how nasal breathing can help you during the day, then you need to go and watch that now to understand this latter part. However, if you just want to have a little bit of a discussion and receive some information about sleep and how your breathing can impact your sleep quality and your ability to pay attention, focus, your energy levels and your productivity, then continue to watch. So before we delve into that sort of stuff, let's just look about what I define as performance. So I am a performance coach. What I do is I help people reach new levels of productivity by implementing strategies such as improving breathing efficiency, enhancing their sleep quality, and managing their stress or altering their perception to stress, which leads to overall increases in productivity because the burden of life is much easier. That raises the levels of performance at work, and many people get the results back they deserve or the credit they deserve from their bosses, whether they're in business, and they just generally see and seem that life is much easier for them. So sleep is a process we go through every single night to rejuvenate our energy. It's a process that allows us to tap into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our restorative part of our nervous system, so that we can recover from exercise, stresses of the day, and just the emotional content that goes on throughout the day as well. It's particularly broken down into two phases. You've got non-REM sleep, which has 3 stages in it, all the way from light sleep down to deep sleep, and it's the deep sleep that we want to get into to ensure that we're getting restorative sleep and we're feeling good. Now we have REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep. So the eyes just literally move side to side and up and down, and we can really tell that. That's our dream state sleep. What happens during this phase of sleep is that the emotional content of the day, the things that have happened throughout the day, it's almost like we get this therapy going on within our sleep, and that processes and stores it into our mind so that we don't get concerned for the same things over and over again. However, anxiety seems to cause the opposite. It's heightened levels of arousal, it heightens the levels of emotion, and it makes us feel fearful, particularly fearful of the future. Now, why is that? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, when we don't get good quality sleep, or we get poor quality sleep, is that it heightens our stress response system. Because we don't get into that parasympathetic nervous system as properly, we don't get the sway and the balance between the two, and we're shifted to a more stressed side. So that elevates things like cortisol, noradrenaline, adrenaline in our brain and our body, and that can lead to things like insomnia, because it just leads to the mind racing. It makes our body almost on alert, and the body and brain doesn't need to be on alert when you're trying to get to sleep. You really want to be in a calm place. So that's why practice and relaxation protocols, the stuff that I teach before bed, improves your sleep quality. If we're in a heightened state of anxiety, what's happening with our breathing? In the previous video, I delved more into this, but essentially we're breathing faster and usually breathing through the mouth. Now, if you're mouth breathing at night time, you're increasing the resistance to the back of your airways, because when your mouth comes open, when you breathe, the airway can drop. And what happens is the airway collapses. So if the airway collapses, the amount of air that can get through reduces. And the vibration through the soft palate is what snoring is. So if your partner is next to you and she's getting annoyed with you all the time, or he's getting annoyed with you all the time because you're snoring, If the mouth's open, then it's most likely because you're a mouth breather and you need to become a nasal breather, and we're going to get to that in a moment. However, what generally tends to occur after a longer period of time is that the airway starts to narrow and it occludes fully. If it occludes fully for more than 10 seconds, multiple times an hour, more than 5 times an hour, you then have something called obstructive sleep apnea. And obstructive sleep apnea is a debilitating disease for many people. They used to think that it was just down to obesity and due to large adenoids in the back of the throat or jaw structure. But now there's some evidence to suggest, and I actually have a hypothesis on my website, www.performancethroughhealth.com, which I'll pop below, how stress can contribute to sleep apnea. And this is through breathing pattern disorders. Shift in your breathing, which I mentioned in the previous video. So you've got a change in your breathing pattern, your upper chest breathing, more up to here. That's going to actually tire out your inspiratory muscles, and it's going to shift the way you breathe. So you've got shallower breathing. Not only have you got shallower breathing, you've got increased resistance in your airways. That causes, those two together cause the obstructive sleep apnea. So you get drops in your oxygen at night time because of less airflow coming through, and that furtherly contributes to stress, further contributes to anxiety. So it becomes this vicious circle of having high stress levels, poor breathing, sleep apnea or sleep distorted breathing such as snoring issues. You have a low, what's called arousal threshold, because your ability to get into those deeper sleep is challenging because you're just woken up by small noises. You might be sleeping light, and that's generally because you've got a heightened level of cortisol in your body, and your brain is just primed to move rather than to be still. So that what then tends to happen is over a long period of time, or not even that long period of time, maybe a few weeks of having poor sleep, is that the connection between our prefrontal cortex, which is primary part of our brain for executive functioning, and what that means is basically taking control of your emotions and being able to think rationally rather than emotionally. That part of our brain has a connection to our amygdala. The amygdala is our rational part of our brain. Let's call it the monkey side of the brain. So if we've got something that's taking control at the front, and behind it, it's like someone's chatting to you behind on a shoulder, someone's talking to you on your shoulder, but in your mind just ignore that person now, that's okay, which is like anxiety, it's just a thought that comes into your front, and then you can just go choose, if you're rational and you're able to lower your levels of fear, you can just choose to ignore the thought. However, during sleep, the link between the two, that top-down control, the CEO, let's say, the person who's in control, loses control. It's like the leadership of the brain starts to go down. So if you're starting to lose leadership of your own mind, then your emotional part of your mind starts to pick up, and it starts to all of a sudden start talking a bit louder. So getting that poor quality sleep, having the poor breathing at night time, and having low quality sleep leads to not just things like anxiety, but reduces focus, your energy levels. Everyone knows a poor night's sleep leaves you feeling crap, so you feel crap. You got increased risk of anxiety and depression, and your breathing, your focus is poor, and your productivity is poor. So overall, your ability to perform and your health is going to be pretty poor. So where does nasal breathing come into this? Now, I've talked about nasal breathing in the previous video, and I'm going to talk about the nose itself in anatomy in a future video, and the roles that the nose actually plays in helping us, our immune system, and help us maintain performance and health. But the nose during sleep, if you keep your mouth closed, then the nose adds some resistance to our breath in. Reduces the resistance on the breath in because it slows the airflow. And it adds some resistance to the breath out, which keeps the airways, the air sacs open, the alveolar air sacs open, so we get greater gas exchange and oxygen uptake in our body. But by breathing through the nose, then we can get slower breaths, the airflow is reduced, and it just means that the snoring's going to stop. You're going to get improved sleep quality. You're going to wake up with less headaches. You're going to wake up with more clarity. And to do this, to improve nasal breathing at night time, is that you can just place a little bit of tape over your mouth. This might sound crazy. Don't go onto YouTube and look at what people are doing. Just get literally a small bit of tape. It doesn't have to be mounted on over it, but it's just a little tiny bit over the lips and the mouth downwards, just to consciously, I guess, give your mind a bit of a conscious awareness that when you wake up, just to keep your mouth closed, and eventually that's going to train you. And it might take a couple of days for you to get used to it, and if you've got severe anxiety, obviously you don't want to do that straight away. You want to build your tolerance to carbon dioxide, which I explained in the previous video as well, and that's going to allow you to raise your level of, decrease the amount that you're breathing. You breathe less, your breathing's more smoother, you're not getting turbulent flow in the airways, and therefore it's going to be a lot better breathing at night time. So your breathing during the day is actually reflective of your breathing at night time. So if you're a mouth breather during the day, or if you wake up with a dry mouth, you have to go to the toilet quite often, you're quite foggy during the morning, so it takes you a while to get up, or you snore, then you're probably a mouth breather. Now if you have that, and you also have a poor bolt score, which I'll pop the video up here to show you how to take a bolt score. If you have a low bolt score, which is less than 25 seconds, then you probably have some form of dysfunctional breathing, and improving your breathing pattern over a period of 8 weeks with me is going to be a very beneficial thing for you to do, not just for your breathing during the day, but for your sleep quality and your energy focus and your productivity. Okay, so where do we go from here? What can we do? Now, there's a few things that you can actually do just to try and help with the getting used to the sensation of having things on your lips on your nose. What if you can't breathe through your nose? If you're struggling to breathe through your nose, that means you need to practice breathing through your nose more. It's like a use it or lose it situation. It's like a muscle. Inside you have turbinates. Those turbinates are like a muscle tissue. And what tends to happen is if you don't use them, they tend to just not work and function as well as they can. You can also implement breath holds. So if you were to just now breathe in, breathe out, hold your nose, and keep holding until you get a strong urge to breathe. Breathe in through your nose and then back out again, and do that a few times. You're actually going to increase your ability to breathe through your nose. Doing that before you go to bed, and then popping the tape on your mouth roughly 5 to 10 minutes before you go to sleep, maybe watching TV. That's going to get you used to the sensation of having the tape on your mouth, and therefore what you're going to be able to do is you're actually going to get used to having tape on your mouth and sleeping with that and getting better quality sleep over a shorter period of time than you would, say, just popping the tape on your mouth. Okay, so just in summary, breathing through the mouth at night time is going to lead to snoring, sleep apnea, and poor sleep quality. Having anxiety is going to cause you to breathe through the mouth more, and it's going to increase your it's going to lead to breathing pattern disorders and poor breathing during the day, which leads to poor breathing at night time. But also having high anxiety leads to racing thoughts, stressful thoughts, and it can help cause things like insomnia. So you may want to practice some relaxation protocols to bring your anxiety levels down, or improve your carbon dioxide tolerance and your breathing mechanics with me through some coaching. In fact, I'm going to pop some video training down below. Some video training to talk you through the 5 steps that you need to take to improve your breathing, to improve your health and performance. So you can go and take a look at that. It's going to be completely free. I'll pop the link to that in there for you, so you can have a bit more of a look at improving your sleep, improving your breathing, and improving your sleep quality. Then practice, give it a go, stick with it, keep on going. You know, if you've got someone that can support you and help you and give them explanation to why they're doing it, then get them involved. And then keep on going. I'd love to hear your feedback. Pop some comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, comment, leave a like, share it with your friends, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to be continuing to add stuff onto this YouTube channel, so do make sure you follow along. Anything that's related to stress, breathing, and sleep, I'm here for you.